Alright everybody, apologize it's a little windy out here today, but I am going to be changing the wheel bearing out on this Traverse. Chevrolet Traverse. So, basically what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be starting and pausing the video as I go along so it's not too overly long, but basically, obviously the first step is to jack the car up and take the tire off. So I'll have that off when I come back. Okay, got the lug nuts out. Another thing I wanted to mention too is when you jack this up, you want to block your tires so that the car doesn't move forward or anything. I am kind of on a slant on this driveway, so I just don't want the car to roll down the driveway with me underneath it. Alright, I got the lug nuts off, as you can see. And to get this wheel off, it's so easy to do. You can kick it, and sometimes it will come, but other times it won't. Otherwise, you just stick this bar in there and just... If you can find a spot to get in there. Alright, there's that part. Now you're down to the rotor and stuff. Now this rotor's pretty shot, but winter's coming and it's got pretty decent brakes on it yet. So in the spring I'm going to change this all out and everything, but I'll show you about the calipers and stuff like that. So first of all, you got a bolt here and a bolt there. Take them off. Then once you get the caliper off, you've got a bolt here and the one down there that you take off, and then this part comes off. So first, this is the caliper here. This is what your brake compresses in and stops the vehicle. This is the mounting bracket for it. So you got to take these two off. You could take them off together in one piece if you want to, but I'm going to break them down for you so you can kind of see what's going on here. Alright, so I've got the caliper apart and the mounting bracket, and what you want to do is in the spring and fall you want to tear these bad boys apart here, and if you live on a gravel road you're going to want to do this more often, maybe like 4 times a year, maybe at least 3 times a year if you live on a gravel road, twice if you don't live on gravel and don't do a lot of gravel travel. But you want to make sure these slides are cleaned up, and you can use a wire brush on them, and then make sure that they're sliding okay. And then the other thing, you want to make sure that this bolt here turns easy and goes in and out, because this is how everything slides on it. So if they don't move in and out easy, like this one, these are real good, these slide in and out so easy, and then they spin. So you can like spray them with WD-40 and let them soak and just kind of get them to work again. If you don't have a lot of money and you have the know-how, you can save these, and then once you get them loose, you could take like a drill bit, make sure you get the right size that fits down in there nice, and you can kind of go in, work it in and out, and clean the hole up, get all the crap and stuff that's out of there. If you bend one of these, you might as well just throw the whole thing away, because unless you go to a junkyard, you're not going to get another spare part for this. But you can get replacement parts for these at your CarQuest, Napa, O'Reilly's, or whatever. So I have, since I do quite a bit of work on cars, I have caliper grease. So then basically you can put that in here. These pull out. So I'll show you that they just pull out. You grease them up, slide them back in. Make sure you get this rubber over top of that. So then when they slide in and out, okay. So that's your caliper. So that's your caliper mount. Sorry. So then now here's your caliper. You want to get some type of C-clamp and make sure that you push this back in all the way when you do brakes. Make sure your hose is good. I've had a collapsed hose before. Basically you can't really even tell, but the inside of it is all it just collapses on itself sometimes and you can't really tell. You can get replacement hoses. So another thing I noticed while I'm underneath here is that my strut or shock absorber here is completely toast, and I've got new ones on order. But basically to replace this, you just undo this bolt right here, pull that bolt out, same on the bottom there, pull that out, pull it, take it off, put the new one on, and easy peasy pie, done. So I've got new ones coming. I'm fixing this vehicle up for myself. I'm not going to be reselling this vehicle. It will be basically driven till the wheels fall off. So then you want to check these bushings here, make sure nothing's rotted or corroded or missing. These aren't too bad. This is your sway bar linkage. Make sure your sway bar is not bad. So everything underneath here looks fairly decent. Make sure your body mounts aren't rusted to the point where they're falling apart. Here in Iowa, if you're familiar with winters, yeah, things can get pretty nasty pretty quick. So, but now that I got this out, I'm going to put my new wheel hub there. Put that under, and then slowly lower the jack. Well, that's not slowly, but all right. You want to make sure that it's under there good. Shake the vehicle a little bit. Make sure it's not going to fall out on you. So that way, when you're underneath the vehicle or working back there with your legs underneath it, it don't fall down and you lose a leg or you lose a life. So always make sure your safety first. Okay, now to get the rotor off here, there's a bolt here that they use for some reason to hold these onto place, which I guess is probably a safety thing. They tend to get seized in there, and then when you go to take them off, you strip them out. So basically you just drill them out like I did. As you can see, the other bolt's still in there, way in there, but this is going to come off now. So it's on there pretty good. So do not hit these. If you intend to keep these, do not hit this area here with a hammer. Don't try to hit it from the back side here or anything like that. You want to hit here, and you just want to kind of tap it as you go around. What happens is this gets all seized up in here, and I've kind of gone in there and scraped it away with a flat screwdriver. I've got some small flat screwdrivers that I use for this kind of stuff. So that's how you get that off. So if this doesn't come by tapping on it with a hammer, spray WD-40 down the holes here, let it sit for a night, and then come back the next day and tap on it again. If it still doesn't come, you can get a torch and heat up in here and just work your way around it several times till you get it warmed up good, and then tap on it with a hammer and keep heating and tapping on it, and eventually it'll come. And I guess when I say tap on it, I don't mean just like, just nice little taps. I mean, you gotta hit it, good, but make sure you're not, if you aren't very good aim, make sure you put your lug nuts on here. Otherwise, if you ding these threads, and well, I guess I'm not going to be reusing this anyways. I got my new one to put on. But if you're just doing your brakes and you're replacing this, and you ding your threads here, you either need to get a new tap, or you'll have to get possibly a new hub, or you can get these bolts. They do come out. but they're kind of a pain in the butt. So try not to make an expensive mistake. Okay, now some of these wheel bearings, like this one here, it's got 3 bolts. There's one there. They come in from the back side here. So you just got that bolt there. You got one up here, and you got one on the other side. You got to take this nut off here too. Just impact this one off. But when you go to put this back on, you can impact it on for a little ways, get it close, but you need to torque it down to a specific bolt measurement, or a torque measurement. So always look up your torque specs. Make sure that when you put this back in there, that everything is nice and tight in there. There's nothing loose or, not tight, because this is holding your wheel on. And if this ain't loose, your wheel can flop around in here and cause major problems. So, yeah, we'll get this off here. And then you're probably going to want an air hammer. And you're going to want to get a decent one. Let's see, where'd my air hammer go? There it is. I got a Ingersoll Rand, and it does the job. It's not the best. The best one I've seen out there. I'm sure that Ingersoll Rand's got better, because this is not that expensive. I think I paid like $150 for this. But you also have to have an air compressor that meets the demand, because there's CFMs on your air compressor, and this is requiring a certain amount of CFMs. So here's my air compressor. I bought this a long time ago, but as you can see down here, it's got 6.3 CFMs at 40 psi and 4.9 at 90 psi. So you want to make sure that you've got the right air compressor and the right tools. Alright, now I got the back bolts out. So then you want to fit this on there and make sure you're in reverse. And it shouldn't take much to come off of here. I've already had it off once, so. Alright, so I got the nut off. And I put this back on here, and what you want to do at this point is you want to spray some WD-40 down inside here, and it won't hurt nothing in there, but then you want to kind of tap on it so that this comes loose, and then you can get this to move inside of there. There, see, I got it loose. Okay, so you want to be able to move that, and then you take this nut back off here. And then the next thing you do, you want to take your air hammer, okay, and you want to put it right up here on this, and you're going to go back and forth. You're going to put it on that side, and then you're going to put it on this side and that side, and you're going to want to kind of wiggle it back and forth, and then it'll start gapping. And then you can do that. Or there's another way you can do it. You can leave this nut on. You can go down to your hardware store and get a removal tool, and basically that will come around with like hands here. And that's fairly easy too, but you're still going to need an air hammer to tap on this, because this is going to be like rusted in. You can use heat on this too as well. Heat works. I've never used the tool, but basically you'll put it center in here. You'll leave the nut on. I know you won't be able to. How's that going to work? They got to wait for it to work, but basically you put the claw on there, and then it pulls it off somehow. I guess I'm not for sure how that would work. But anyways, they got tools for this stuff, but I prefer just chiseling it off. In my opinion, it's quicker, it's easier, and I don't know, you could take some aggression off. Alright, and there you have it. Now I'll put the new one on. You just reverse all the steps, except for you don't have to use the air chisel, which is nice. But So as you put these bolts back in here, they come through like that. You want to make sure you have this lined up. Now, some people will say I'm a fool, but I don't really care much for, I never use my parking brakes, and so I removed my parking brake. This is just the assembly. You can leave this in here. I'd probably, guess I've never seen something like this, but it won't hurt nothing at all. You can probably tape this up or something, make it so that it doesn't move, but it shouldn't hurt anything anyways. So but what you want to do is when you put this back on, you want to make sure these teeth are going in there correctly. You got to be, this is your wheel speed sensor right here, and you want to start one bolt just a little bit, get the next one started, and then get the third one started, and then basically what you want to do is just turn it a few times, go to the next one, turn it a few times, and you want to keep doing that all the way around so that it kind of sucks in evenly. If you try to just do one, it could get pinched in there crooked. If you put this one tight, it could turn it and make it so that this breaks. Then you have to replace this too. So anyways, that's basically all there is to it. As you can see on these here, they have a Loctite on them. You want to probably get another Loctite, but you don't want like, you want to make sure you get one that will be removable. There's some of them that will basically weld in there and then you're done. You're screwed if you ever have another wheel bearing go bad. Which for the most part, as long as the wheel bearings are made right, which most of them are nowadays, they've had a few years where they weren't very high quality. They were from a foreign country, and I'm not going to say which country. No, it wasn't China. Anyways, but you want to make sure that you thread it down evenly when you put it back in there, and you can put a little bit of Loctite on there if it concerns you, especially if it's not all-wheel drive. Like this has got all-wheel drive on it, so every single axle has one of these. If it's just front-wheel drive, your rear axle will not have one. This will not be here, so it will not be held on. So you definitely probably want to put Loctite on it. Then I'm not going to put Loctite on these. They stay in there pretty decent. You torque them down. But you want to make sure that everything is smooth here. I kind of scuffed that up a little bit when I did this. I'll take my grinder and touch that up a little bit. This won't hurt anything. It's not like your wheel's going to wobble when it does this, but the thing is that this little bit right here can cause your alignment to go out. Just that little bitty nudge. You can't even hardly tell it's there, but yeah, it's there, and basically you want to get that smooth. Otherwise, you'll need to be having an alignment done after you have this done, because your tires will start to wear funky. So, but basically, yeah, you just put this back in, tighten these down until they get tight, and then you want to make sure you check your torque specs on them, torque them to the spec, and then you put the nut back on here, and then check your specs on this, torque that down, and then put your stuff back on. But I took my parking brake out of here because I never use it, so it's up to you if you use. I mean, if you use your parking brake, I suggest you leave it in there, but I never do, so I just remove it. I don't think hardly anybody in America uses them anymore, unless it's a hand brake, but these aren't hand brakes. These are on the floor. So there you have it. Any questions, any concerns, any videos you want me to upload from here on out, let me know. Like I said, the next thing I'm going to be doing is basically just taking the tire off and then replacing that strut. I probably don't even need to take the tire off, to be honest, but I will, just because I'm old and I don't want to be crawling in and out from underneath these vehicles. I got some other projects I'm going to be working on, so check those out too. So sorry, my stepson came over and talked to me for a minute. Basically, where are they at? Oh, my projects. I'm swapping motors in a Chevy Equinox. Why? Because everything's getting expensive as hell, and I found a motor cheap enough to go in it. So I'll be up there next week. I'll be uploading a video on that. I've almost got the motor completely out. Um, what else am I going to be doing? Oh, I'm going to be pulling a motor out of a Suburban, an LS, and I'm going to be dropping that into like an 82 or an 84 Chevy pickup truck that I just acquired. So be watching for that. And then my big project is my 70 Chevelle, which most of that stuff is going to be body work, and I am not a body man. My eldest son is. He does body work and stuff like that. He will do the paint on it more than likely, but he is probably not going to be doing the floor pan removal. I will take that to a professional shop to have that done because we don't have the equipment to do that. So yeah, follow me if you're interested in all that stuff.